How did Goku, at 12 years old, master Ultra Instinct? It was an exceptionally intense training day. Whis was leading Goku and Vegeta through a sparring session. Despite giving their all, they were still no match for Whis' incredible speed and technique. Just as they were about to lose the match, Vegeta made a surprising move. He suddenly lunged at Whis, grabbing him tightly, and urgently shouted, "Kakarot, quickly, use the Spirit Bomb!" Goku immediately understood Vegeta's intent. Without hesitation, he began gathering energy from across the universe. His energy surged, flowing continuously toward him. Meanwhile, on Earth, Piccolo and the others also sensed this immense energy and began channeling their power to support Goku. This time, Goku wasn't just gathering his own strength, he forcibly summoned all the energy in the universe, determined to defeat Whis in one powerful blow. Even Whis, faced with this overwhelming energy, felt an unprecedented sense of pressure. Far away, Beerus, who had been sleeping, was suddenly awakened by this powerful aura. He opened his eyes in confusion, witnessing everything around him shaking violently. But it was already too late. As Goku's Spirit Bomb exploded, the entire seventh universe seemed to teeter on the brink of collapse. Zeno observed the scene in shock and turned to the Grand Minister, asking, "Should we intervene?" The Grand Minister calmly shook his head. "This is a matter of the seventh universe. We need only observe." However, just when the fate of the seventh universe seemed sealed, Whis, in desperation, tried to activate his time rewind ability, but found that his powers couldn't cope with the enormous collapse of the universe. In a critical, Beerus poured all his divine energy into Whis, that it would be enough to restore the fractured time and space. Goku's consciousness gradually returned. He suddenly opened his eyes and found himself in the familiar surroundings of Mount Paozu. He clearly remembered having a fierce battle with Whis, and it seemed like he was about to pay a great price for it. But now, everything felt as though time had reversed. Goku hurriedly looked around and realized that his body had become unusually small, as if he had reverted back to his 12-year-old self. Goku, confused, tried to access the power within him. To his surprise, he was able to effortlessly transform into Ultra Instinct. What was happening? As the time slowly passed, Goku began to gradually understand the strange truth. He had returned to his childhood with all his original memories and power intact. He had started over, meeting Bulma again, rekindled his friendship with Krillin, and even becoming a disciple of Master Roshi. Everything seemed to be repeating itself. Yet this time, Goku had become invincible on Earth. Whether in daily training or facing enemies, all challenges seemed too easy for him. However, despite this, he still felt a deep sense of joy and contentment within himself. One day, while Goku was delivering milk, a familiar energy suddenly made him alert. It was Vegeta's energy. Without hesitation, Goku decided to follow the energy signature, and sure enough, he found Vegeta waiting quietly for him on a small hill. Upon seeing Goku, Vegeta's expression became serious. He slowly spoke. "Kakarot, do you know? The Spirit Bomb we used back then destroyed the entire seventh universe. Us and Whis did everything they could, gathering all the divine energy to reverse time. But even so, the overwhelming power of the collision still sent us back to our childhood." Goku was shocked after hearing this, but Vegeta continued, "The price of that disaster was huge. The divine power of Beerus and Whis has dissipated in every corner of the universe. What quote is worse, we must prevent anyone from using their divine power to disrupt the stability of the universe, or the space-time might never be restored. Therefore, our current task is to maintain the normal development of history." Vegeta paused for a moment with a profound look in his eyes. "We must wait for that day, wait for the battle between you and me in the arena, and prevent the recurrence of the tragedy." Finally, Goku understood everything. He knew that the task ahead was not just to repair history, but to strictly follow his own memories and let history repeat itself accurately step by step. He was well aware that any slight change might trigger a new collapse of the world, and they might never be able to go back. However, the current Goku was no longer the teenager who had just started his adventure. Whether it was facing Piccolo Daimao or fighting against the Red Ribbon Army, for him, it was easy enough to solve the problems with just a move of his fingers. With such powerful strength, how on earth should he use it? How could he act cautiously to ensure that history would not be disrupted? His responsibilities and missions were far heavier than any challenges from his opponents. In order to avoid altering the course of history, he deliberately suppressed the immense power within him and chose to live as ordinarily as possible. At first, everything seemed to go smoothly. However, fate struck at the moment when Krillin first died in battle, shaking Goku's heart to its core. In that instant, his world seemed to collapse. He could no longer bear to watch his friends perish, helpless as the flow of history crushed everything in its path. Ignoring all risks, he made a firm decision to change this predestined fate. Since the heavens had granted him a chance at rebirth, he could no longer turn a blind eye to this deep friendship. He hid in the shadows, preparing to save Krillin at the critical moment. Just as he clenched his fist, ready to act, a chilling, murderous intent suddenly enveloped the entire space. Goku's heart jolted, immediately recognizing the presence. It was Hit. Without expression, Hit coldly stood before him, his tone icy as he spoke. Champa is aware of the changes in Universe 7. Fearing that you might fail to complete your mission on time, he sent me to supervise you. Hit's words struck Goku's heart like cold iron. He coldly warned, don't try to alter history or there will be consequences. As for that little bald guy, Krillin, Dragon Balls are more than enough to bring him back. You don't need to concern yourself. Confronted by Hit's cold-bloodedness and indifference, Goku's anger spread like wildfire. He knew that Hit was nothing more than an emotionless assassin who could never understand the true meaning of comradeship and friendship. Furious Goku retorted, "You have no idea what friendship means. If you try to stop me again, I won't hold back." Before the words were even finished, Goku's figure blurred as he gathered energy, preparing to clash with Hit. To his surprise, however, Hit did not make a move. Instead, he coldly smiled and stepped aside, allowing Goku to pass. Without hesitation, Goku flew straight toward the dojo. But when he arrived, he found Krillin lying in a pool of blood, breathless. At that moment, Tambourine, still present, had not yet left. As an assassin on a mission, his job was to eliminate all martial artists on Earth, especially those who might master the Mafuba. When Dambailin discovered that Goku was also on the list, he smugly smirked and declared, "Goku, you're next!" Thinking of Krillin's corpse, the pain in Goku's heart almost tore his soul apart. His Super Saiyan aura exploded, sending shockwaves of energy throughout the surroundings. The immense pressure from his power made Tambourine tremble, and even gods Piccolo and Master Roshi felt the overwhelming force. Hit stared coldly at the out-of-control Goku, and his voice remained icy as he said, "All of this is your own choice. I'll go back and report to Lord Champa. You'll have to bear the consequences on your own." Without another word, Hit turned and left. Goku barely paused, delivering a single strike that killed Tambourine, then rushed to gather the Dragon Balls, determined to bring Krillin back to life. What he didn't realize, however, was that this act would trigger an unprecedented storm. In Universe 11, Baramoto was leisurely sipping wine, seemingly celebrating an impending victory. The current turmoil doesn't bother the Grand Priest and the Omni King at all. They still remain neutral. However, the gods of destruction don't think so. They don't know the Omni King opinion, and they are also afraid that the acts of Goku and Vegeta traveling through time and space will anger the Omni King and thus involve their universes. Barumoto came up with a plan and proposed the complete eradication of Universe 7, believing it to be the best preemptive measure. Under the mounting pressure, Champa desperately defended his brother, swearing that he would ensure the history of Universe 7 would remain unaffected. He even contacted Vegeta to warn Goku to stop. However, Champa's heart was still filled with unease. He decided to keep Hit on Goku's trail, while assigning Frost to keep an eye on Vegeta. Despite all of Champa's efforts, he was unable to stop the situation from escalating. When Barumoto learned of all this, a cold smile spread across his face. Having always been at odds with Beerus, Goku's transgression provided him with an excellent opportunity. He thought to himself, this might just be the golden opportunity to change the course of events.